provincial constitutions in Canada understood. So many Canadians don't get it, and maybe I haven't articulated properly, at least until tonight. It really hit me with Quebec separatists, Alberta separatists, and a breakthrough is reached that I think that big barrier of so many Canadians, especially separatists, that they don't understand that since Canada's creation, the Constitutional Acts 1867 till today, which were British North American Acts before that, the 1867 Constitutional Acts of Canada were created in response to the end of the American Civil War, where the 50 states went toe-to-toe to wipe out any colonial constitutional powers remaining in the 50 states, so that they would all be we the people constitutions, with sovereignty for the American people found with the 50 states themselves. It's the division of powers separation. Canadians, what finally was a breakthrough that I guess I understand, but I haven't been articulate enough about. And it's very important for people to understand, because I think I finally got through to the Alberta separatists. And this is the fact that all the federal overreach in taxation is all done by your premiers. Every premier from every province, does not matter which political party. The federal government taxes at will when your premiers give your division of power rights to the Prime Minister and party in power. It's happened hundreds of times in every province over many, many decades. This goes on and on. Section 91 is very limited. It outlines a very limited amount of power of the federal government, what they can tax and debt load you at will by any mode means necessary. They can do this with trade and commerce. They can do this with CAD and the Canadian Central Bank. They can do this with interprovincial projects binding more than two provinces, meaning one province isn't a border of the other province. But bordering provinces is provincial power. In fact, almost 100 rights and freedoms promised to Canadians since 1867 under provincial constitutions has been given to your premiers and never codified in a provincial constitution by you, the Canadian people, or you, the First Peoples. This is half of all the land in Canada that's not yours. This is all the water in Canada that's not yours. This is all the resources in Canada that aren't yours. If you, the people, convince any premier to constitute Section 92 upwards of Section 157 under provincial powers, you remove the federal government in all of their overreach by law, and there's nothing any federal government can do about it. They can only tax and debt load by any mode means necessary under the very limited 8 powers of the federal government, not the 100 and some powers promised to all of you under provincial constitutions that the provinces have never enacted, even though it was called for in 1867. Why was it put in the Constitutional Acts? Because they were deathly afraid of American expansionism. The Civil War was over. America had a choice: destroy the British Empire in North America or destroy the Spanish Empire in North America. And the British Empire said, hey, look, we're just like you in your 50 states. We're going to give the power to the Canadian and First Nations peoples. See, Section 5, Part V, provincial constitutions. We're going to be exactly like the 50 states with a parliamentary democracy. So America turned around and said, okay, looking good, Canada. We'll leave you be. We will move on and we will fight the Spanish Empire, which in the next 40 years of American history, they did and they destroyed. Meanwhile, Canada did not, in any province or territory, under any premier with that constitutional power, chose not to. They said, I like having all the powers over all the subjects in these many hundreds of their rights. Why would I ever bestow it upon them and limit me? I'm not going to do it. I have never, in every single provincial party in power, Liberal, Conservative, NDP, and other branches of Liberal or Conservative or centrist, not a one premier from all the mainstream parties or the other spin-offs has agreed to do constitutional conventions, meaning run the Constitutional Conventions Act for all the people of the province and First Peoples, which would mean 50% of the land available in Canada in your province becomes available to you. You design it, you the people. Your water rights, your resource rights, your civics, your human rights, your education, your health, and many, many more. Because you see, Canadians, First Peoples, whatever isn't listed in Section 91, that's the entirety of the Indian Act, which is only 8 things, is automatically powers of a province or an Indian nation if they so constituted and agreed within the provincial boundaries. This is what Canadians don't understand. This is what Americans live with since 1763. State constitutions came before independence and absolutely before the federal constitution of the United States. It's the first thing you're supposed to do. It was the promise the British Empire made to the United States in 1867 so that they wouldn't destroy Canada and make it 50-state union material. That's the truth. That's the great education Canadians have to understand, that the federal overreach can't happen if you constitute your powers in a provincial constitution. It's constitutional, it's called for, it's done by Lieutenant Governor and the Premier of said province, and can't be rejected by the Prime Minister or the Governor General. It's constitutional. All Supreme Court judgments, all Superior Court judgments are undone in relation to that province immediately after they constitute a constitution from Section 92 to 153, rules of governance, how to govern, and accountability, checks and balances for all levels of government in the provincial sphere, which is almost all your rights, almost all of them. I'll put it to you this way: if there's 108 to the federal, 92 to the province. Canadians, it was your evil premiers who bartered with the federal government to enrich themselves, their friends in power, their appointments, and wealthy globalists, companies all over the world, to enrich themselves at your expense. They're good cop, bad cop with the federal government, irrespective of parties. Conservatives and Liberals are the most grossest represented in this uniparty system, where provincial premiers have been trading your rights as Canadians and First Peoples to the federal authority so that they can get rich in other avenues: trade, commerce, banking. It's all been done. They've been betraying you since 1867. God bless everybody. I hope this video really explains it, because I know we had a huge breakthrough tonight on X, and now I'm trying to impart that on all my Facebook followers. God bless everybody. Share, share, share. Have a great night. Say hi to Jerica. Jerica, say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, bye everybody.